I'm Alex Messina, chairman of the Malosi Foundation. So the Malosi Foundation started when Jameson and I were getting some NOAA grant funding to host some workshops and continue on the research and teaching work that Jameson had been doing when he was a professor at American Samoa Community College and when I was doing my dissertation research down there. And we thought, well, we can just keep, applying for these grants that Jameson was getting as a professor and keep working with the students and maybe sneak in a little surf trip, every year in American Samoa. And so we had another grant, but then with COVID, they closed the island, so we couldn't go there. Both Jameson and I had kids in the same year, and so our time was limited, and we kind of had to hit the pause button. And then when Jameson passed away, obviously, I thought that was the end of the foundation. And Carolyn had asked me then, could we change it to doing a scholarship? Could we support a local student or a student from California and send them down there to do research? And so it was a big change for us at the foundation, change in focus towards just solely supporting students and offering this scholarship. But it's been really cool. We, had some great applicants. Amanda was amazing, and she got to work on a really cool novel project with Wendy Cover. So they went down and had a good trip last year, and so we hope to just keep supporting a student each year and honoring Jameson's legacy and remembering him and his passion for his students and for science, and provide an example to Zane and Kai, his two young boys, of what their dad was doing, and all the cool stuff in marine science and research that he did in American Samoa. Um, so, we really appreciate all the support. We never intended to ask friends and family for support, but it's been a great way to bring everybody together, and everyone just loved Jameson so much. It's kind of a good excuse to get together and remember him and remember what he liked doing and what made him so special. Hi, I'm Alex Messina, chairman of the Malosi Foundation, and I wanted to tell you the story of the foundation. So I met Jameson in grad school at San Diego State. We were doing in the geography department, and he and I quickly became best friends. We did a ton of sailing and fishing and surfing and snowboarding and everything. And so then when I went to American Samoa to do my PhD research, I was telling Jameson, man, the waves are really good down here. There's not that many surfers. You should come down. And he got a job at ASCC as the research coordinator in the marine science program and professor. And he was down there for 3 years. And while I was doing my research, I collaborated with him and some of his students, doing drifter work and some watershed science, all sorts of different things. And so when we moved back to California, we both wanted to continue doing what we were doing in American Samoa, and we wanted to keep going back and surfing. So we got another round of grant funding from NOAA, a grant that he had gotten as a professor there. And so we went back and hosted a workshop for students and on island researchers and agency members. And we thought, oh man, we could do this every year, keep doing these workshops, continue doing research. But we needed to make it a little more official. So we set up the foundation as a nonprofit to, handle the grant money and all that kind of thing. So we were going to continue doing the grants and research, but then both of us had kids in the same year. And with COVID, they shut down the island. And so we couldn't continue traveling down there. And then when Jameson passed away, obviously I thought um, we would just dissolve the foundation. But Carolyn had asked me, could we continue and instead pivot to giving a scholarship in Jameson's memory? And so it's been a big pivot for us. Jameson was really passionate about his students. He loved working with his students and loved teaching. That was probably, his favorite thing. And I thought, well, what a great way to honor his memory by helping a student get started in their journey in marine science, supporting the local community in American Samoa that he cared, very deeply about. So it's been a change. We didn't intend to be doing, fundraising from friends and family, but it seemed like everybody wanted to participate in something and, celebrate and honor Jameson's legacy. So it's been, really, really cool and very rewarding to, continue working with the students and offering the scholarship. And we hope to keep doing this every year um, to honor Jameson, remember him, and show his boys, Kai and Zane, that their dad was super cool. He did all this cool stuff in American Samoa and was a really good researcher and great teacher. Um, so hopefully one day they can go down there on scholarship and do some work of their own. Hi, I'm Alex Messina. Hi, I'm Alex Messina, chairman of the Malosi Foundation. So Jameson and I started the Malosi Foundation after we had gotten a grant, a federal NOAA grant, to do research in American Samoa and continue doing some workshops down there. And everyone was kind of asking us, like, who are you guys with? What are you, just two random guys working down here? And so we set up the foundation to kind of make things a little more official. And the whole idea was we would just continue doing the research that I had been doing down there as a PhD student, and the research and workshops and education type stuff that Jameson was doing when he was a professor at ASCC and research coordinator. And we thought, oh, we'd get this grant, we'd go down to continue doing a workshop every year and basically get a surf trip out of it, every year. Um, and with COVID and having kids, we sort of had to hit pause anyway. And then when Jameson passed away, obviously I thought that was kind of the end of the foundation. And Carolyn had an idea to offer a scholarship to a student instead and carry on Jameson's legacy by sending a early career marine science student to go down and start their journey in marine science with a little help and Malosi from Jameson. So we never really intended to, do fundraisers and ask friends and family for support. We thought we'd be getting, federal grants and continue doing that. So it's a big change for us at the foundation to pivot to this scholarship. But it's been really fun and really rewarding. Jameson loved his students so much, and it's been great to continue on. Hi, I'm Alex Messina, chairman of the Malosi Foundation. So I met Jameson in grad school at San Diego State in the geography department, and we pretty quickly became best friends. We surfed, sailed, snowboarded, fished, skateboarded. We did everything together, played a lot of golf. And when I finished, I went down to American Samoa to do my dissertation research, and Jameson was finishing up his master's. I was like, dude, the waves are really good down here. There's not a lot of surfers. You should come down and um, and surf. And so he applied to American Samoa Community College, got a job there as a research coordinator and professor of marine science. And he lived down there for 3 years with Carolyn and did a whole bunch of marine science research. Super good teacher for all of his students. And we collaborated on a few projects while I was there um, with him and his students. And so he had written a grant to do a marine education and teaching workshop for his students. And so when we had moved back to California, we thought, well, why don't we just apply for that grant again? We'll go down and do a workshop, get a little surf trip. And so we did that. The one year we did a drifters workshop. It was super fun, had a blast with the students. And we thought, oh, we'll just do this every year. And we got the grant to go back the next year. We had a few projects in the works, and then COVID threw a big wrench in the plans, and we had to cancel everything. I couldn't go to the island for like 2 years. Jameson and I both had kids in the same year, so time was super limited. And then when Jameson passed away, I thought, well, we'll probably just like dissolve the foundation. Um, without him, it was pretty tough to carry on. And so Carolyn proposed the idea of, well, why don't we do a scholarship? And in Jameson's memory, and kind of pass on his love of marine science and his passion for teaching, his passion for students. And so we wanted to give a student from California a chance to go down there and get started on their career in marine science. So last year we were super blessed to have Amanda Bland as our scholarship winner, the initial scholarship winner. And she went down with Wendy Cover, and they did some really cool Triton research and totally novel. No one had really done it before, and had a super good time. So it's been a big pivot for the foundation. We thought we would just do research and get grants and continue the projects that we're doing, and so it's a big change to do the scholarship. And we had never intended to ask friends and family for any money or support. Um, but I think everybody wanted to get together and honor Jameson's memory and kind of remember who he was and how amazing he was, and all the stuff that he was so good at, and he was so cool about being an awesome teacher and all that stuff. So um, we hope to continue doing the scholarship every year and have something to remember him by, and something for his boys to you know see what an impact he had on everybody, and that we all want to keep carrying this on. So we're going to keep doing the scholarship every year. We hope to have another amazing year and send a student down to American Samoa and continue on.